Welcome, welcome everyone. This is Flow Management in CAP projects, where you will see an update on the design and current state of the Flow Management plugin. We're pleased to have with us Simon, with a member of the CAP team, and with that, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you really much for the introduction, and from my side as well. Welcome to the presentation about the flow management. My name is Simon. I'm part of the vocational training program of SAP, and currently I'm working in the SAP Node.js team. So first of all, we will have a look at what we mean when we talk about flows, at what a flow is, before we dive right into the main part of our presentation, which will be a live demo, live coding, where we use the plugin we developed. At the end, we will have some time to have a look at how this works, and then some spare time for Q&A. So maybe if you saw the keynote earlier today, then maybe you saw this diagram presented by Daniel this morning. And this is an example of a flow. So this is taken from the S-Flight application that some of you may know. And this is the flow which describes the travel status. So we have different states and different transitions. The states here are like open, accepted, and then you can change from one status to another if there is a transition with the associated action for that. So what are the restrictions? Why do we need something better than the current state that there is in CAP? So in CAP, you have CDS for the declarative definitions of your data model. And from that, we can generate all basic stuff that CAP serves out of the box. What we cannot do is the generation of business logic. This is something we have to add by ourselves. And the ultimate goal here is to get the business logic right into the declarative definitions from CDS. And for that, we can dive right into the code on how to use the flows. So we will do that by, first of all, having a look at the custom implementation without the plugin, with lots of boilerplate code, and then we will remove that code and replace it with a plugin. That we can jump right over to VS Code. So what we can see here is the travel service with our travel entity. We can have a look at that, and we can see, okay, it has the travel status, and the travel status then holds the travel status code, which are the statuses we saw earlier in the diagram, like open and accepted again. Also, the transitions is what we can define in the data model, like the accept or reject travel actions we can define here. But besides the definition, we also have to implement them and give a custom implementation for that. So what we can see here is the example for the accept travel transition. And there we, first of all, get the travel from the database, then check if it exists. And if that is the case, then we can do the checks regarding the flow. So we can check, is the status code, is it right? Is it open? And if the check is not successful, then we can throw an error. And if everything goes good, then we can finally do the update. This is not only done for accept travel, but also for all of the other transitions we need. And as you can see, the structure is pretty much the same all the time. So, but only the small details make a difference here. So besides that, we also, if we want to use Fiori elements, we have to add the annotations for the UI, which in this case are operation available, where we again define the flow and then the side effects to update the UI in case something happens. So as you can see, there are two places currently in our application where we have to model the flow. Here in the annotations and then in our custom logic. So we have no single source of truth, and this can lead to maintainability issues, especially when you have more complex flows than the ones we saw in the presentation. So this should be running, and we can have a look at how this looks. So what we can see here is the object page of a travel, the vacation travel in this case. We can see our status code here. Currently it's open, and then all our actions are up here. We can see closed travel is not allowed at the moment. But for example, we can click accept travel, and then this changes to accepted. We could close it, changes to closed, and all the actions are not allowed anymore. So this is the behavior that we are striving for, that we want to achieve, but now with the use of the Flow plugin. For that, we can start to remove all of the custom code, which is a lot, even for this simple case. And then we can also remove all the UI annotations that are added. And with that, we can start modeling with our CDS Flow plugin. For that, we can open the flow here if it loads, and then start modeling. So the plugin we built provides 3 main annotations. We can start with the first, which is the most important one. And that is the flow.status annotation. So with that annotation, we tell the plugin this is the status element that all of this will be about, where all the checks, where all the updates will take place. And with that, we can really start modeling here. For that, there are 2 annotations that we need, all prefixed with @flow, and we can start with the accept travel action and see, okay, accept. There's 1 error for that. This goes from open. And then we can see this arrow goes to accepted. Can do the same for rejected, for the reject action here, which will lead from open to rejected. Then the cancel travel action is a little bit different. What we can see here is that there are 2 arrows for that, which say cancel. So in the from array, we can also add accepted, and then this will lead to cancelled. Again, the close travel is pretty straightforward. That's this transition here. We go from accepted and then to closed. Now what you can see is that we have only 4 lines of code in comparison to all the boilerplate code we had before. And when we have a look, this should work pretty much the same. So you can see the status is open here. And if we accept it, something didn't work. What happened now? I think that's a mistake in the diagram. What? Oh yeah. Thank you. I missed it everywhere. Thank you very much. Didn't saw that. So you can see the 2 annotations. It's from open, and then it will go to accepted. Yeah. Thank you for pointing out. So yeah, now that looks better, because currently the closed travel is not allowed. And if we accept it now perfectly, then this will change to accepted. And also if we close now, this will go to closed, and all of the actions here are not allowed anymore. So we basically achieved the very same thing as we did before with only the 4 lines. But not only that, we saw in the UI that the buttons are not enabled anymore. But if we have a look at the API directly, I now accepted this travel. If we have a look at the travel status code, it's accepted now. So I shouldn't be allowed to accept again. If I accept again, you can see we get the forbidden error, and this is also caught by the API. So this is the basic behavior, but we can now extend it with a new flow that we now want to introduce, or want to make additions to the additional flow we have. And this is that we add the edit transition, which will go from open back to open, that should be allowed, but then also from rejected and accepted, we should be allowed to edit, and this should lead us back to open. So to do that, that's actually another annotation that we could use. First of all, we have to model a new action, call it open travel, because it will open the travel. And then we can model that and say this will go from open, rejected, and then accepted. Don't forget the two. This will go to open. And now there is the fourth annotation that we have, which says for. So with that, we can hook onto existing events or actions provided by CAP. So in this case, we will hook onto the update event, but this could also be all of the other CRUD events or the existing events and actions for that service. What we basically tell the plugin is that the from and to that we defined here, they should be checked and updated in the way that it's defined for the update event. So in case somebody updates, so clicks edit on the UI, then this should be triggered. Have a look at that. Running. And what we can see is that we are currently in status open. If we edit now, everything should be fine. There shouldn't be a change here. But if we accept it now, then it's accepted. But if we edit it again, maybe update the description, then we can see that this went back to open because there could have been some changes that are not allowed to be accepted. Same works when we go to accept it, edit it again, to vacation 2 and save it. Then we can say, okay, this will go to status open, and this is exactly what we want. So we can attach to all the existing CRUD events and also events and actions. So with these annotations, you have all the basic functionality that the plugin offers, but in the case there are some flows, some conditions that we want to add that go beyond that. We also took care of that because we say the basic flow annotations will take care of all the basic things. But if you as an application developer want to extend that, you will have maximum flexibility and can override that. You can have a look at an example for that. I have the accept action here, and we won't know when to change it and add a condition. Say in case we want to accept it and the price is over 4,000, then we want to automatically reject it. In the case it's below 4,000, then this will go to accepted. So for that, it's possible to implement a custom handler that will override the flow implementation we have. We can see here, we will now want to implement the accept travel, where we get the travel from the database and then check the price. And if it's over 4,000, we update to rejected. And in any other case, we update accepted. And have a look at that. Now, currently, the price is way above 4,000. So we accept it, and this switches to rejected. If we edit it, maybe switch the price. This will go back to open like we implemented earlier. And now the price is under 4,000. If we accept it, then this will change back to accepted. So in summary, you can define the basic things in the annotations here, but in any other complex case, you can still override it with maximum flexibility to implement anything you like. And with that, we can come back to the presentation and have a look at how this works. So what we do in the plugin is to register the generic handlers for specific points provided by CAP. First of all, in the before handler, we check whether the action is allowed in the current status. So we take everything out of the annotations and do the check on the database. If it's not the case, then we will automatically reject it. If everything is fine, then we will move on to the on handler. It's also provided by the plugin as an empty handler if no one was provided in the custom logic to not make the request fail because of a missing implementation. The after handler, then we check whether the status was changed before in the on handler and some conditional checks like we saw in the last example. When it was changed, then we won't do anything. And if it was not changed, which would be the standard case, then we as a plugin would change the status. So as a future outlook, there are some things we want to work on because this isn't published yet, but yeah, will be hopefully soon. It would be nice to have the conditions directly in the annotations, especially with the expression language CAP now offers. This would be possible, but we're not sure if we want to do that. We have to think about it. Then it would be nice to have some code completion within the flow annotations, especially after my mistake I did earlier. So it would be nice to have it on the annotations, but also on the status fields that you have, because currently they are not checked. It would be really nice to have some compile time checks there. And another thing would be a graphical editor that you maybe click together these diagrams we saw throughout the presentation, and then we could generate the annotations out of that. Yeah, and that's it with my part. We come to the Q&A. And if you haven't done already, you can fill out this CAP survey.
Thank you, Simon. Are there some questions?
You showed the status complete, and then you edit it, and then you said confirm, and then the status automatically reverted to open.
Exactly.
Sometimes I don't want to have that. Sometimes I want to click on the finger to the operator and say, you don't do that because it's free. How can we interact with that? Do we have to write a little JavaScript code, or is there a declarative idea?
Yeah, in any complex case, at least right now, you would have to write the custom handlers. That is not possible in the declarative definitions.
The other side of the room.
Sorry, yes. Thanks for that. That's a very interesting concept, I have to say. I have a couple of questions. One is from a business perspective, with the example of the travel request and the accept and reject. Typically, someone will make the travel request, and then that will say flow to the approver, and they actually do the accept or reject, and there's the concept of the inbox, etc. So first question is, how is that scenario supported? Will it be supported? And then the second question is, this concept seems similar to the concept of workflows in build process automation. How do you see the two being related? Because I've been on scenarios where we've actually integrated CAP applications and build process automation to get both features. So I'd be interested in, with this, it seems now like with this capability, we've got almost like a workflow engine being built in CAP already. So how it relates to build process automation. Thank you.
Those are two really good questions. So coming back to the first one, that would be possible, not with the flow capabilities, but with the standard CAP behavior that there is. So you're right, the process shown here that only one person does it would not be the business scenario, but for that you could build the CAP applications with the restrictions, and then only let certain persons or roles have the access button, or allow them to click the access, and then somebody else can make the request. Somebody could accept them. So this is out of scope for the flow plugin, but it's doable with the standard CAP behavior. And for the other question, we thought about it. It's something that's written down, but we will probably look into that in the future. That's something we heard from other persons as well. So maybe there's something coming, but not yet. But I think that could be a standard use case that build process automation and the workflows could be used together.
And with that, we have to close. Feel free to catch Simon elsewhere throughout the conference today. And our next session will be in 10 minutes on multi-tenant SaaS solutions.